experience in visiting Vietnam last year in preparation for Miss Charm International Pageant this year?
Right. Well, I just spent a day and a half there, so I can't wait to stay longer. You know, I get a good grasp of the culture. But when we got there, I met B at the airport, and then they practically just transported us to the hotel. I met my other sisters from the continent of Asia, and then we began the press conference. I met a few of the committee, basically, you know, the organization of Miss Charm, and I was just thrilled at how hospitable they are, how warm they are, and how well coordinated everything is. And it was quite a grand welcome, and I can't wait for an even grander pageant period to begin. Moreover, we just went on one very brief city tour. They just toured us around Ho Chi Minh, and while I would have loved to, you know, meet the local people and get a taste of their infamous Vietnamese coffee and all that, the time was quite limited, so I can't wait to actually get a better grasp of that come tomorrow. But it was such a lovely, as brief as it may be, it was such a lovely visit, and I can't wait to experience more of that.
And being excited for your first ever international pageant, hopefully you win and become our first Miss Charm International title holder. How are you going to charm your way through the hearts of Vietnamese people and charming your way to the crowd?
Particularly with that, I think when you stay true to your core values and when you stay true to who you are, that's one sure way of getting what you want from life. In my experience, there were so many temptations to have a shortcut to success in whatever form that you could think of. I mean, I remember it was just 8 years ago that I was struggling to make ends meet. I didn't know if I could ever get a college education. I didn't know where I was going, really. We were doing everything. I mean, I was selling bread in high school. We cooked in the morning and barbecue at night. We would sell ukay-ukay clothes on the weekends. We were doing everything to make ends meet. And I distinctly remember the day that Pia won. It really inspired me because it wasn't a good day. We weren't selling that much, and we went home pretty sad. We went home with practically nothing. And when we did get home, and you know, I went on my phone, and that great news really sank in, because Pia actually has Iliganon roots. If you guys don't know, she has Iliganon roots, and I thought to myself, well, if she could do it, then maybe I could as well. You know what I mean? Like to represent the Philippines, to be someone beyond yourself. That's something so surreal and so far off thinking about it. But I'll just take a moment really to let it all sink in, pardon me. But what really kept me going all those years was the thought of, is it possible? Can I make something out of myself? Is it possible? Can I make it happen? And I've always had this vision of making it somehow, and it didn't really matter to me anymore what field I could succeed in, but I did, by God's grace, I did found my way into pageantry. And with each experience I had from the provincial pageants that I won, and up until Miss Universe Philippines, and up until the day I was appointed as Miss Charm Philippines, I never really saw it coming. Like I always dreamed of these things happening, but I would just focus on myself and work on what I could do. I didn't focus on what was beyond my control. I focused what was within my control, within my orbit, what I could do for myself. And I always dreamed of being the person that could someday pay it forward. And even before being appointed as Miss Charm, just being the first runner-up, at Miss Universe Philippines, it really changed my life. It really changed how I viewed myself and what I could do, and it really opened a lot of doors for me, and I'm so glad that with the little that I still have now, I can use my pocket to bless other people. You know what I mean? I mean, just recently I had this message on Instagram, and she said, "Ate, congratulations. I'll pray for you because like she congratulated me on being appointed as Miss Charm, and she said, because you believe in my dreams, I'll believe in your dreams as well." And it turns out the child that I had partly sponsored her badminton equipment a few months back, she ended up winning 2 gold medals at her competition, and she was the underdog in the competition. And I think that's just one funny way of God showing me that I really am always the underdog, but I think the underdog can really come out on top if she wills it.
Yes. Last question, finally. You exude so much charm. How do you define charm?
Charm isn't something that's forced, it just is. And so, while I'm very strong-willed and determined to go for what I want, I've also learned the value of relaxing and just letting go and being myself, being free from the pressure that I put on myself, but also being free from other people's expectations. I think everything, even my appointment as Miss Charm Philippines came as a surprise. So being charming is just being full of surprises, and I think I have a lot of them up my sleeve.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
We'll be there in Vietnam.
Wow, thank you.
DPP and Pageant Genius will be there.
Way back. I've seen her beginnings and her.
The microphone seems to be stuck. So I have to raise my voice for you to. Hello. Okay,
Yes, we'll have another microphone for you, Sir Norman, so that everyone will be able to
I
hear.
love my
Our apologies.
But the microphone doesn't seem to love you.
This one does.
This one does. Okay, live question muna tayo. The very first time that, I think it's Mama J who may have told you that, "Oh, Annabelle, are you ready to represent our country in this charm?" The very first time that you were told about that, what was your genuine reaction?
My general reaction, well, actually, it was actually a phone call that I got on one fateful day, somewhat late October. It was actually Sir Derek from MBAR who called me, and he said, "Do you want to go and represent the Philippines at Miss Charm?" And at first I was dumbfounded because I didn't really see it coming. I thought that that would be the end of my pageant journey for a long time at Miss Universe Philippines, but then that call caught me off surprise off of my lunch break from work, and with much thought I committed myself to it. And it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction to say yes, because pageantry is the national sport in the Philippines, practically speaking. I think most of the press can agree with that, and I know that there's a certain pressure when you carry the Philippine sash across your chest. But I thought long and hard about it, and that's what I signed up for when I joined Miss Universe Philippines. I signed up with a dream to represent the country, and now that it kind of found its way back to me, why would I say no? The answer would definitely be a yes, a resounding yes. And aside from saying that to Sir Derek over the phone, I think I've been saying yes each and every day to myself. Am I ready? Well, I show up every day as somebody who's willing to grow more as a person and willing to improve herself each and every day. And so that's how I've shown up over the past couple of months preparing for Miss Charm, and that's who I'm going to show up as in Vietnam come by tomorrow.
Thank you, Annabelle. Quick follow-up question now. I know you're the type of person who would study, prepare for something, especially an assignment like this. What is your honest take about Miss Charm? How do you understand this pageant? Kasi like, for the oldies among us, including myself, there used to be a Miss Charming international pageant way back when we were still young and beautiful. Yeah. Pero wala na yun, 1 or 2 years na yun. Now, may Miss Charm. I'm sure you studied about Miss Charm. What have you learned about Miss Charm? What's your personal take on it?
For Miss Charm International, I think one thing we have to take into consideration with the pageant is it's a one-of-a-kind pageant, be it that it advocates for and includes blockchain technology and the use of it in the voting process, and also in our other activities that are gonna come up and bubble up starting tomorrow actually, while the voting is actually ongoing. But moreover, it's quite dedicated to the idea of sustainable tourism, which I think is something that we should get back on, especially in the midst of a post-pandemic world where everybody is going back into their lives, but with also the question of how should I go back into my life? How should I ease back into it? And when it comes to tourism, we should already be talking about or asking ourselves that question: how can we make it sustainable? How can we make it inclusive? And so that's what Miss Charm is all about. It's about sustainable tourism. It's about advocating and democratizing access and information about blockchain technology, because we're in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution and we need to be ready. And so it's sort of a classroom setting, if you will, but make it pageantry. So I hope that we can all learn together with Miss Charm.
Thank you for that, Annabelle, and good luck.
The basic internet that we had in the 90s. And Web 2 is how we typically use the internet now. It's social media. It's not just information being set and spoon-fed to you in Web 1. Web 2 is giving people like us the chance to input their own ideas and their own content on Web 2. But with Web 3, it's a more transparent way of, it's a whole different ballgame of transparency, security, and moreover, it allows us not only to input information, but also be amongst ourselves as well, like what you see in the metaverse, or as a more instantaneous means of transactions, like our sponsors, namely Phison and MetaMask with the e-wallets. I think in the Philippines, our most recent, or rather our most common way of engaging with it is our e-wallets that we have on our phones. So that's just a basic gateway that you can use to get to know more about Web3 and blockchain technology. But in the context of Miss Charm, we use it for the voting process. So it's completely transparent. You can see users input or vote for their certain candidates in real time.